Hi there, my name is Anita and this is my sewing channel, Sewing Yogi. Welcome back if you are a subscriber or you are completely new and you've never been here before. Welcome. So today I'm bringing you the things that I made in February, and there is not that much, I must admit, but you know what I'm like. If you already know, you're used to me, I'm a bit of a slow sewer, so I don't get much made, but that's fine. I think it's better to be as some of you have said in your comments to me, it's sometimes better just to take your time and not rush these things. So anyway, yeah, February for me was a bit of a rubbish month, to be honest. Yeah, I had loads on my plate and lots of things happened, mainly to do with my health. January, I had a trip to the dentist, just a checkup, and suddenly found out that my teeth are behaving like I've eaten sweets all my life, and I don't know why. So I was pretty devastated because I've always been really careful about what I eat and not having sugary things and making sure that my teeth were clean and, you know, caring for them. And I found it really shocking to find out after a year that suddenly they just dramatically took a nosedive. So yeah, I was pretty devastated. My health was deteriorating. And so I've had a few other things as well. I've started, I think, having some perimenopausal symptoms that some of you may identify with. I'm having hot flushes, I'm having cold shivers. My mind is very, very forgetful and foggy. Yeah, so yeah, I think February just all sort of built up and got on top of me. I've had some work done to my mouth that needed to be done, which, you know, the cost of it is really like getting me really annoyed. I am the most fearful you can possibly be about the dentist. I do not like going, and I physically shake and go into panic mode. I cry. I'm not good on the dentist chair. The dentist probably hates me because I am such a complete wreck. But yeah, I had some work done, which was awful. And then for about 2 weeks, my mouth was really sensitive and I couldn't really eat properly. I was just constantly worried that there was something bigger wrong with me, you know. So I have found another dentist recommended to me by a friend who I have booked in to see for a second opinion. I don't like to just take one person's opinion, especially when it feels so wrong. Didn't feel that what he was saying was just. So I'm going to go for somewhere else and just see what they say. It may be that I do have to have lots of work done on my teeth, which I'm devastated about, but you know, it was one of those things. But yeah, so February was a bit of a rubbish month, and making the things that I've made really, really helped me keep me sane and grounded and give me real focus. I wasn't really functioning very well, so just focusing on sewing, purely sewing, really, really helped me. So I'm going to get straight on. I've already chatted ages already. So please continue to watch if you want to see what I've made and you've not switched off already. But yeah, I shall go into what I made in February. So for my first make of February, I had got this in my plans and I was unsure if this was going to work for me. I was unsure whether it was going to suit me and whether I would wear them, but all I can say is I absolutely love these so much. I'm so pleased with how they turned out, and you'll be able to see them on the camera here. These are the overalls that I made, and it is a McCall's pattern, and I think it has two different numbers. It used to be number 7547, and now I think it's 81262, sorry. So yeah, and I'll put the pattern picture up in the corner. I absolutely love these so much, and I'm so thrilled and shocked that they worked. I can't believe that they actually worked. So I had said in my previous vlog that I had made a kind of twirl just of the actual pants part, the trouser part, and I kind of made shorts just so I could get the depth of the crotch and whether I needed to add anything or take anything away. And what I actually did was I cut out a size 14 first and I made those up, and they were really quite big for me. So from that I did a seam down the sides of I think 2 centimeters just to make it, pull it in a little bit. And then I just started to pinch out fabric of where I thought I needed the fabric to be removed. And at first it was obvious the front crotch was quite baggy, so I took it back out of there. And also I should say that I actually added some to the crotch. So I think originally I added quite a lot to the front crotch. I think I added about 2 inches, and then I added about, I think it was something like 3 or 4 inches in the back. I don't know why, I just went a bit crazy. I just estimated it, measured myself, estimated it by measuring the pattern pieces. And I'd added quite a bit, so already they were a bit large for me. So I pinched in the side seams, then I pinched out the front crotch, and I then pinched out the back crotch. And I didn't have to pinch out as much from the back as I thought. So I basically made little darts in the front crotch and the back crotch, just took out wedges of the fabric, stitched them, basted them, and then put them back on, and they seem to fit okay. So I then transferred that to the pattern pieces, and I'll show you the pattern pieces, how they turn out afterwards. So this is the back, and you'll see that I've added a little wedge here. So I think I ended up adding 1 inch and maybe 1.5 inches. I'll check my notes in a second. But you can see that all I've done is slashed through and opened up this section here on the crotch and added the amount that I needed. So originally I added quite a bit, and yeah, I didn't need that much, but I still needed to have some extra in the back of the crotch to fit my bottom in. And then the front crotch, originally I added quite a bit, and then I realised I just needed to take it back out again, so it's just as it is. I've left that just as that pattern piece is. And anyway, I really didn't know whether that would work. I basically followed a tutorial from Lifting, I think it's Lifting Pins. I'm not sure. I will put it along the bottom if I've got that wrong. Apologies if I have got that wrong. But she has an amazing group of tutorials for making pants or adjusting pants. And I think there's about 5, 6 of them maybe, of all the process of going through, starting from picking a pair of pants to making them. And I think those videos are absolutely amazing, and that's what I used. So I just followed what she said about adding the little wedge in the front or the back, and then making a twirl and seeing if it works. So yeah, and I felt like it looked okay, and I just thought I'm going to go for it and just cut these out. And I was terrified, thinking that they might not work. So the sizing I actually went with eventually, when I realised that I needed to pinch in the sides, was a 12, and then I obviously added those crotch adjustments. And then I just waited for it and I cut them out. And I was still unsure whether they would actually fit me up until the point I got the waistband on. And, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? You're scared, you're terrified that this is a massive failure. And all that time and dedication you've put into this, that it might actually just look awful. But anyway, I got my side zip in, which is just a regular zip that goes in the side. And put the waistband on and tried them on and thought, actually, I think these are going to fit me. So I finished them to the point where I could try them on, and they do fit, and I love them, and I just think they're amazing. Now the top stitching on this was just literally, I felt like it was going on forever, and I sweated and cursed and had to redo some of it quite a few times. And you know, I'm so pleased I did take the time and the energy to this. I mean, you know, like I say, I haven't made that much this month purely because I was so focused on these dungarees, and that's why. But I will stand back and let you see them. I hope that you think they look as good on me as I do. Okay, so they are a little bit creased because I have been wearing them. But there is a fake or faux fly on the front, so that's just pretend, that's just from top stitching. And you have pockets in them with all the top stitching around the pockets, and you have this lovely waistband, which I think is really flattering. And then the back pockets, and again, top stitching all the way around those. I will try and stand on this step, just see if you can see them all. But yeah, they're a wide leg, so I thought they were more flared, but they're actually just a wide leg, which is probably fine. It's probably better actually, because that's now apparently in fashion again. So you can see, yeah, there you go. And then the back, and they're lovely and fitted, and I think they're a little bit more flattering than regular ones, or ones I've seen anyway in the shops. I just really don't like. They're really baggy and shapeless, whereas this is a bit more fitted, and it's just more flattering. And you'll be able to see on the back as well, the top stitching on the back, the way that works, and then the little buckles on the front, which I chose to go with silver ones, and then all the top stitching on the front pocket as well. So there's a lot of top stitching, but I adore them. I love them so much. So yeah, there's a few mistakes I've done on this, but I will point those out afterwards. But yeah, I'm happy with them, considering this is my first attempt really to do anything like this. And I feel that they're, you know, like they fit me, you know, fine. Like the crotch and everything on them fits me, and I think they fit on my bottom without being too tight. I can sit down comfortably. And yeah, I love them. I just think they're amazing, and as I said, I wanted to look like Felicity Kendall. So I feel very Felicity Kendall in these. Yeah, I love them. So I will insert pictures up here probably of the pictures I took of them. Really hard to get pictures of them because they're so dark, but yeah, there was a few issues that I had. First was I think a mistake in the pattern where it tells you to do the top stitching on the back. So it'll tell you on the inside to turn your seam allowance to one side. I think it says the right side on the front, and then top stitch down. And then on the back, it's meant to say fold your seam allowance to the left so that it's in line with all of it together. So if I turn around again, you'll probably see that the top stitching is on the wrong side, but that's just a problem in the pattern. It's a small thing, but I would have preferred to have got that right, but never mind. I've put it in the pattern instructions now. I've marked it to say fold to the left instead of folding to the right. But you'll see that this top stitching is meant to be on the other side, so it lines up with the top stitching on the crotch seam. I hope you can see that then. But yeah, that's just a minor thing. And then I got confused doing my waistband. So you'll see that I have my button going, or the long edge is going round the back slightly. So I have that going round like that. And then I have my button underneath. Now that is actually meant to be the other way around. So the long edge is meant to come round here, and the short edge is meant to be here. So it lines up with your zip here. And I don't know why, but I got mine all confused and did it the other way around. However, I think it's a happy mistake because I quite like it this way. I think it looks better because I like the fact that when you're looking dead on, you can't see the button. I think the button would sit quite a foot further forward here if it was meant to be done the way it was done. And I don't know if I'd like that. I kind of like the fact that it's slightly further back. And I think it looks neater and a bit better in my view. But so I might actually just continue doing it that way. But those are the two things that I got wrong. I'm trying to think of any other things that I may have done that were wrong. Let me just check my notes. No, I think that was everything. yeah, I think that was pretty much it. So I added 1.25 inches to the back crotch, and then I shortened the legs by 7 centimetres, which I think roughly 7 centimetres, get me a ruler. 7 centimetres is basically 2.75 inches roughly. So yeah, that's quite good for me. I thought that normally I have to take off quite a bit for the legs, but I didn't need to shorten them that much. And I used about 2 meters of fabric for this. I didn't think I was going to get it out of 2 meters, but I did. So I'm really pleased, because when I ordered the fabric from Minerva, I think I must have just thought 2 meters will do for whatever I don't even know what I was buying it for, probably jeans or something. So I just bought 2 meters. So I was really hoping that I'd have enough, and I did, thankfully. And so yeah, I've really enjoyed making these. They've kept me sane throughout February. As I said, February was a bit of a rubbish month for me, a really challenging time, had loads on my plate, lots to worry about. And having this to concentrate on was actually a lifesaver. So yeah, I'm really pleased I've made them now. I'm thrilled. I want to make some more. I'm not sure when I'll make more, but I do want to make a black pair. In denim probably again. But you can make them in, I think you can make them in a twill, or you probably could make them in a, I think this, I can't remember what the suggestions are for this. Let's have a look in the pattern. Yeah, stretch denim and a twill and a denim. You could do a corduroy as well, I suppose. It doesn't say corduroy, but you could probably do a corduroy in them. But yeah, I love them. I'm so pleased I've made them now. And I can't tell you how thrilled I am with them. I just never imagined I'd ever be able to make anything like this. And it's such a great achievement when you finish something and you feel so happy about it and it fits you, and you feel, when you wear it, you feel happy and proud of yourself. Yeah, I mean, I really don't care whether people think I look a bit crazy in them. I just love them. So yeah, they are the McCall's Dungerees, and they were the version with the wide leg. So the other make that I made was an Agnes top by Tilly and the Buttons, and I've made 2 of them. So the one I've got on now is an Agnes top, and I just did the long sleeve version with the round neck, and it's just a plain long sleeve t-shirt essentially. And then I made another version, which is what I have pictures of this with this, the Dungarees on Instagram, because this one I made second, this stripy one. I just felt that I needed to get another top out of so I could wear these Dungarees. So anyway, I made the other version with the ruched neckline. You might not be able to see it very well on there. The fabric is quite busy, but I have the little gathering there on the front, so it kind of makes it a little bit more sort of a sweetheart neckline, I think. Is that what it's called, or a V-neck? I'm not quite sure. But yes, so I made this in this Lady McElroy viscose jersey, and it is a viscose jersey. I did look it up. And yes, so again, I didn't really know whether that would work because of the ruching. You can't really see it underneath the dungarees, which is fine, but I shall probably wear these this other top with some jeans or something, or shorts in the summer. So for this top, I made a size 3, and once I made it, I was a little bit cautious that the fact that this was tight around the sides here, around the bust, and then down in the waist. I felt like it was just clinging to me too much. It was a bit too tight. And so I have taken it in about 1 centimetre from the arm side all the way down. And then weirdly, this point here, I've had to take it back in to the size 3. So it's just at this hip area here that I've had to take it back in again. So essentially, I think what's happened is, when I measured it on the pattern, I'm between a 3 and a 4 on this part here, around the bust and then through the waist, and then I'm a 3 back for the hips. Which is odd. I don't know why, because the measurements it has on Tilly and the Buttons recommendation for this is 28-inch waist and a 34-inch bust, which is what I am. Actually, when I measured the other day, I've gone down to a 27.5 waist. So it was weird that I've had to take that out for the 3. It could be that both of these fabrics weren't stretchy enough. I don't know, because I've had to do it for both. And maybe in a different, more stretchy fabric, it wouldn't be the case. So it could be just that the viscose jerseys are a bit clingier and tighter fitting, maybe. So yeah, anyway, those are the 2 tops that I made to go with my dungarees. It's all about the dungarees. Yeah, and that is basically all I have sewn up in February, mainly because of all the other stuff I'd got going on. I didn't get my yoga bag made, which, you know, I'm sure you're probably not that bothered about. I'm sure you probably didn't really want to see the yoga bag anyway. But for me, practical wise, I really wished I had got that done, but it doesn't matter. I can get it done at some point. So for my other thing that I've made, and this is not necessarily in February, this has taken me a year to make. And you know what I'm like with my knitting, I'm very slow. Now I started this cardigan about this time last year, and I was knitting it through the summer, and I gave up with it because I got the sleeves wrong. I'd ripped back the sleeves so many times, it was ridiculous the amount of times I ripped these sleeves back. Because it's a lace pattern and I was really struggling to get the sizing right. One sleeve was different size from the other. I don't know what happened, it just didn't work. So I put it in the naughty corner, and that's where it stayed for ages. And then I finally dug it out in, I think it was January, and thought, I've got to get this finished. I'm sick of seeing it now. So I have got my cardigan finished. And it's actually a free pattern that I got in a magazine. So it was a knit, I think it's called Knit Magazine. I don't actually have the magazine anymore because I cut it up, and I've just kept the sheets of paper that had the instructions on. I chucked the rest of the magazine because those magazines, they just get so, they're just so bulky with adverts and all this stuff that I just get annoyed with them. So I just cut the pages out I want and keep them in a ring binder. So I shall put this cardigan on. It's probably not going to look right over these dungarees, however, so I might actually go and change into jeans first so you can see the actual cardigan properly. Okay, so I have my cardigan on. I love this so much, even though it's a little bit big for me. It's one of those things I feel like I've learnt a lot from knitting this, actually. I've learnt a lot about knitting from knitting this up. So I think my next project will be a lot better for me and a lot probably easier. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping so anyway. But I do feel like I've learnt a lot doing this. So as you can see, it has a lace pattern on the arms, and if you can see that. And it does look really lovely and really sweet. And yeah, it's just on the arms, you can see, lace pattern. That, for some reason, boggled my mind. It took me ages to get around. So yeah, there's the lace. And then it is actually meant to have buttons down the front, this. I've decided to take the buttons off, so I've knitted the band without buttonholes, purely because I made it too big and it's a lot longer than it's supposed to be. It's actually meant to be a cropped cardigan, and it sits lower, and therefore it sits around the sort of my hip area and around my bum where it's the largest part, and it doesn't quite close. So I thought there's no point me putting buttons on it because it's not going to be able to actually close. I did think I could have probably put the button on the top because of the shape of this band. It doesn't make it look like it's meant to have a button on it, but I've just done it this way now. So I shall stand up so you can see. Yeah, I'm really pleased with it, actually, because my other kind of knitted projects weren't amazing, but the arms are a little bit long, so I'm a bit annoyed that I've done my arms long, and I don't know why, but I just thought I was measuring this really accurately and it's turned out not quite. And you'll see that this is longer than it's supposed to be. It's actually meant to sit higher up, so it kind of sits there. And yeah, I've knitted it way too long. I shall stand back a little bit so you can see it properly. Yes, so yeah, and it is a little bit long, but I'm happy with what I have made, and generally I'm really pleased. I love the yarn that I've used. And this is just a double knit. It's acrylic because I can't wear in yarn with wool in. I'm allergic to wool, so it just makes my skin flare up and look really awful. So I have to make all the knitted things in acrylic, which is, you know, okay. It's not, it doesn't, I don't think it behaves as well as wool would. I can't do anything about that, but I'm really happy. It has like a little fleck through it. And I just thought it looked really pretty and would look nice for spring. And I don't think it looks that bad, even though at the moment I'm trying to get it to sort of lie flat and it's not. I don't know how to. I have washed it and blocked it and like tried to dry it in this specific shape, and I have even pressed it, but it doesn't seem to want to stay like it. So maybe it'll just take a bit of wearing until it sort of gives a bit. But yeah, so apart from the fact that my sleeves are too long and that it sits too low, I'm happy with it. And I will probably make it again, but I think I'll probably leave off the lace arms and just do regular arms, and just have a regular cardigan and make it a lot shorter so it sits higher up and so I can button it then. But yeah, so anyway, I'm happy with it. I'm really pleased. And yeah. So while I'm here and I've got the dungarees off, there was another bit that I quickly wanted to mention. And it's the inside of the back where you have to make a little facing and you then get your straps in and then you top stitch the other side. So I found that really not explained very well in the instructions. And you get these little bits that kind of stick out the side here and they are raw. And so there's nowhere to put them, if that makes sense. I thought about trying to fold them in, but then that became really bulky and I think it would have just looked really awful. Eventually, I think I overlocked, well actually I think I layered the seam inside and then overlocked that bottom edge. So you can see I've got some overlocking on there. And then I've had to hand stitch a few bits here to try and get any raw edges tucked in because it's just going to fray and look rubbish. So I weren't sure how they were finishing that. It's very briefly sort of skimmed in the instructions and I was a little bit, oh, what are you supposed to do with this bit? So I have managed to do it. It's not as neat as I would like because I've had to overlock it. But next time I would probably do it slightly differently. I did actually make myself up a little pretend one to practice with to try and work out how to get those edges to stay tucked in. And I eventually did find out a way of doing it. So I've written on here little instructions for myself for next time so I remember. And I have written on the inside trim and layer allowances under this seam, and then on the top I've put fold in covering all layers and then overlock. So I think what I did was I found that if you just tuck those corners in over all the other raw edges and then you overlock, if this makes sense, then it won't be raw edges that are sticking out, if that makes sense. I really do hope that that makes sense. But yeah, I found that really, yeah, I wasn't happy about that bit. But I've managed it, and so next time I will try and do it slightly differently. And apart from that, nothing else, other than, as I said, the folding of the seam is wrong. It's meant to fold the same way as the bottom, and it tells you to fold it to the right. It should say fold to the left. So another little thing there. Oh yeah, and I found another way of, because I'm not sure how anyone else has done this, with your top stitching threads, when you are finished, because I don't like to back stitch on these areas, I just think it would looks really messy. Eventually I've worked something out, which again, could be blatantly obvious to everybody else, but I just thought I was being really clever. So, okay, so I'll just show you on this part here. So what I managed to do was put it on a needle and then threaded it back into the seam allowance here, right inside, so it doesn't come through the other side, it just stays inside. And then I threaded the needle back out again here, and then I trimmed the thread, and then now that sort of spare thread is inserted in that seam allowance, all hidden away. I'm hoping that once it's washed, it stays hidden away. We shall see. But anyway, I just thought I would say that just in case anyone was like me and didn't really know what to do with them. And if you have any other tips actually of how you sort of, you know, kind of bind off your top stitching threads and what you do on the inside, I'd love to know. Yeah, so I mean, maybe you're back stitching, but I just don't like doing the back stitching because I think it looks a bit messy. So I like it just to finish, and then I pull my threads through the back. And anyway, that's what I did. So that's what I made in February, and I really hope you've enjoyed seeing what I made today. I am doing the Frugal 23 this year, and my vlog will be out on the 21st of March. Forgot what month we were in then. So yeah, so I'm not doing a plans video because I am going to be completely consumed with doing this Frugal challenge. If I get some extra things done, that would be great, but again, I don't like to challenge myself too much, and so I don't want to go overboard. But yeah, I shall put my video out on the 21st of March, and you can see some ideas of maybe free patterns, and what my plans are, and fabrics that I've dug out in my stash. And so yeah, and that's it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing what I made, and thank you again to everybody who subscribed and followed me on Instagram. And if you do want to follow me on Instagram, I'll put this down the bottom. Also, all the links that you need for everything are in the description below. I also have a Ko-fi page, which I never mention. I forget everything when I'm doing these vlogs. So if you wanted to donate me a coffee or a tea, I tend to drink tea over coffee, then that would be really appreciated. And yes, so I hope everyone's had an amazing day, and I shall see you very soon. Take care, and sending you loads of love. Bye.